What's your mission statement, Ron?
Man, I have no idea. There wasn't much of a mission to be honest, somewhere around the end of March. It was right after my birthday, after March 19th, like the 21st or so, somewhere around there. That's right when Atlanta went on the stay at home, shelter in place. The
Mhm.
orders were put in and it was like 2 weeks. There's going to be 14 days that you have to stay home and you can't leave your house. And, I guess I should back up. When I was a kid, I drew all the time. I was the kid in school that could draw Eddie. And, you know, I think I told you, like, when I was a teenager or when I was a young teen, probably in middle school, you get your, like, books and you'd have to cover them with, like, paper bags. And people wanted drawings on their books. So I would charge, like, $4 and I would draw, like, an Iron Maiden album cover on your book cover, you know? And I charged $4 because that was the price of one hit of acid. So I was thinking in terms of a hit of acid, you know what I mean? I'll be like, well, I'll only charge $4 because that'll be about 12 hours worth of awesome fun. And so I'd draw Eddie, and I drew all the time. I always had a sketchbook going, and I was always drawing stuff. And most of my family members thought that I would probably be some sort of visual artist, and not necessarily a drummer. I mean, I always played drums. I played drums since I was a little kid, so they knew that I was going to play drums. But I think that they all thought that I would eventually have some kind of visual arts career or something like that. That was a possibility. And just over time, I don't know what happened, but I just kind of stopped drawing. I stopped being compelled to do that. I didn't, have any ideas of what to draw, and I just fell out of practice, and I just sort of stopped. And then over the years, I would I would get an idea, or I'd get it in my mind that I wanted to have at least some, like, art supplies around for the moment in time where I was going to start drawing again, or painting or whatever. So over the last, like, 25 years, I have amassed these small collections of sketchbooks and paint books and paints and markers and pencils and pens and you name it, all these art supplies in these little hoarder piles that have been shoved into closets all around my house. Once in a while I'd open a closet and see this little bag filled with pencils and erasers and a sketchbook, and I'd say, I'm gonna get you out one day and I'm gonna start drawing again, and just years went by and nothing happened. That's fine. You don't want to force it, and you don't want to feel like there's no pressure to do it. It just was in my own head. Every once in a while I'd say, hey, I would wonder to myself, like, why did I stop doing that? So it was fun for me for a while, and then I just stopped doing it. No one's counting on me to do it. I am not counting on myself to do it. It doesn't matter to anyone at all, but it was in the back of my head, almost like I was letting myself down. You know what I mean? There's always so much to do, I'm always so busy, and there's always an excuse to not do that. It's gonna take time, or I have to go do this, or I could start doing something. I have to go do this. I have to go do that. And then first, when this pandemic hit, and they said you can't leave your house, I just went and grabbed a sketchbook, and I said, let me try drawing this clown I have in my head. So I drew clown number 1, and I liked it. It came out cool, and I thought it was interesting, and I felt like it kind of looked a little bit sad, and I don't know. It was sort of the beginning of some sad times, in some weird way. It sort of helped a little bit, I guess. And so I said to myself, I'll just do these clown faces, simple, just a face, and I'll do 14 of them, and then I'll have this little like COVID clown series that'll be 14 clowns, you know, because then the virus will be gone and the lockdown will have ended, and it's going to be time for everyone to return to normal, and it'll be fine, and I'll have these 14 clowns because we had this pause for 2 weeks, and that's all that it was going to be. We now know that that's not how it went, and that's not how it's going. Unfortunately, it just became, you know, this thing that was able to get me out of bed every day. You know, I'd get up out of bed, I go downstairs, and I just started to get more and more ideas and just get really into it, you know. And there was no mission statement for it, and it just was. I didn't want to shy away from any ideas that I had, and I also used it as an opportunity to try to teach myself how to draw, because I don't consider myself to be very talented as an artist or someone who can draw. I don't consider myself really in that realm. So if I would get an idea where normally I feel like I would shy away from it because I'm a self-defeatist, and I would say, I can't draw that, so I'm not going to even try. And where normally I feel like I wouldn't go through with it or try it because I would think that I would fail and I wouldn't want to go through that. You know what I mean? But I guess with this particular artistic venture, I didn't care at all. And it really helped me to not care about what anyone thought of any of the clowns that I was drawing, what anyone thought about my skill level as an artist. They just were like this meditation that I would do every morning when I would wake up. I would get like my 2 little oranges and another piece of fruit, a glass of water, a cup of coffee, and I would crack my sketchbook open. I would look at the clown from the day before and say, oh yeah, I like that. That's cool. That was good. I like that, how that came out. Or I fucked up that arm right there. Or I need to work on hands. Those are really hard. I could spend all fucking day on a hand, you know? But I had to finish them within the day, you know. That was another thing. Like I wanted them to be done, and, you know, single serving. You know, I think the longest one took about 8 hours. So,
which one was that?
I think it was the Vangogh clown. I started getting into I did all that with colored pencils, and I started, you know, doing the little dots to make up the palette, you know, to make up the background and everything. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it's going to take me for goddamn ever. It was like so tedious, you know, but I was okay, you know, you start it, you know, and you start digging in on it, and you're like, God damn it, what did I do, you know? But it was fun to finish it, you know. I'm not saying that it wasn't, and I didn't have anything else to do. I just overall kind of liked the pause. I feel like I haven't taken any kind of break from thinking about Mastodon since Mastodon started. You know what I mean? It's just like nonstop, like, you know, like bugs in your brain. Like I can't shut it off. This was like this opportunity for me. I felt like to shut that off and have an excuse. You know, like some people have, like, you know, side projects and all this other stuff, and it's just hard for me to slice it up like a pie and dedicate this percentage of emotional artistic passion to this project and then put this over here. Like I have to go all in on whatever it is, you know. And if I don't know, it's hard for me to, it's almost like I'm a serial monogamist when it comes to like artistic endeavors, you know what I mean? Like all my emotional, everything, all my ideas, everything, that it's all wrapped up in Mastodon, you know? I withdrew. I wasn't thinking about Mastodon. I was thinking about my clowns, you know? And then it just started to really become this emotional thing, you know, whereas like with the clowns hugging, or with the little clown with the balloon that says, I miss you, you know, and it became this whole, you know, the underground clown that had in the open casket, or the 9/11 looking clown, the airplane that's headed towards the Trump Tower. It was a way for me to like express a whole bunch of stuff, you know. It was a way for me to combine, you know, what I was feeling, what everybody was feeling during that time period. I would get an idea and I would be excited about it, and then I would try to execute it, you know, and it was just me. And so it was like, and then I didn't care what anybody thought about it. And so it was awesome. It was very like freeing, and I really enjoyed sitting down and sketching and just trying to see if I could do it, you know. Okay, so 14 quickly turned into 25, turned into 35, and then turned into 50, you know. And at clown 50, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm done doing these clowns. I think I'm done at 50. But then I had all this backlog of clown ideas that I still hadn't done, you know. And I was like, well, no one's saying I have to stop at 50, and I don't really want to, you know. And my people, so I've withdrawn from all like social media and stuff. So I'm not on Instagram, and I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not on any of that stuff at all. So for me, when I would finish one, I would take a picture of it, and then I would send it to a bunch of people like yourself, and a whole bunch of other people were had subscribed to the Daily Clown, basically, you know.
You weren't just sending it to a big group. You were individually sending it to all your friends and family.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Sometimes it took me longer to send the clowns out than it did to draw it. I mean, that was rare, but it ended up taking about 45 minutes for me to send the clowns out. To sit and awesome. Individually send to each person. I would just be sitting there like, oh my God, okay. You know.
There's a lot of things going on in all these drawings. Like, there's a lot of depth to the emotion in them. And the humor. I was looking at the one of the clown pulling the fishing clown pulling the big fish out of the boat. Did you have some of the clownfish? Was it? Yeah. Is it?
That's a clownfish, dude.
I immediately started. I was texting you back. I was like, did you draw this one for John? I was just thinking in my head, of John from Birth by the Sun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my source image for that was me fishing on John's boat. When we were on the Primus tour, John had taken us out in his fishing boat, or his buddy's boat. And I used my source image was that's me. And I just replaced the fish with a big clownfish. And for me, it was I like the angle of because it's, you know, the boat is like, so it's me head on, but the water is like diagonal, you know, so you're like on the boat. It's kind of cool. I think that, you know, usually if you're going to draw somebody on a boat catching a fish, you would draw the water like straight across, you know what I mean? But that's not how, you know what I mean? That's not how it's not how it is.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a challenge to like draw the water, you know, and try to get the waves right because of the different reflection. It was like a gray sky, overcast sky. And so you have to, it was always like to figure out, because I'm using almost strictly fancy markers, basically adult markers, the Copic markers, some Japanese crazy markers, you know. But that's kind of what I landed on eventually, was just markers. And they're hard. They're hard because, especially if you're going to do like the Rambo clown and Muscles, the sad clown, you know, you have to figure out like how to do shading as far as and body tones, you know. You go real light and then you kind of darken, but as you go through it, you can't really blend the markers, so you have to like figure out something. It was something to figure out, which was fun.
As you went on, like, you started playing a lot with perspective and depth, and like the Peekaboo Clown, the floor, and like,
that's probably the creepiest. I think for me, that was the creepiest one that I did. I wanted to see if I could. I was like, how do you draw like a door that looks like it's a little bit open? You know, like that's hard to sort of figure out if you're not an artist. You know, you can get an idea in your mind, but then can you pull it off? You know what I mean? Like, is it actually going to read the way that you had it in your head?
Which ones triggered the most responses?
I think emotionally, I think like the hugging clowns, the clown sitting in the corner with his face in his hands crying. That one, that when that one went over, I think a lot of people text me back after that one, like, oh dude, that's me right now. I didn't get too deep with everybody, I just kind of sent them the clown, and usually would get like a 1 word or couple word response back from some people. Yeah, the I miss you clown, the little guy in the middle of the paper, the Dunce Clown in the corner. I'm like, oh my God, it's really sad. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There was a looking back on it, there were some sad days. Doesn't help sitting there with the news on with the death ticker up in the right corner, like, I would send them to my mom too, and she was always trying to critique them, and I was like, listen, I'm not interested in critiques. And which also gave me a new perspective on how to not care about what people think about my music, or about the music that I'm involved in. Like I find that I care so deeply what other people think, and I sort of hate that. That's kind of one of the things I hate, that I'm not happy about with myself. You know what I mean? It's not like I let it affect anything that I make or that I do with the band. I can't go that far with it. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely like, when it first goes out there, I'm nervous about what people think, and I care way too much about that aspect of it. Beyond myself loving it, I'll be in love with I've always fallen in love with every record that we've ever made as far as Mastodon's concerned. And then you put it out into the world, and then someone comes back and they're like, yeah, this isn't good, And you just go, oh, it's like crushing for me for some reason, But I feel like this really helped me to not care. And now I feel that way. So I love that aspect of it. I just want to be able to have the same approach like to music that I have had with these clowns. I want to not give a fuck. And I know a lot of people claim that they don't give a fuck, but they do,
They do.
And I have claimed for years, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, but I totally do.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because I hate feeling that way. It's absolutely worthless energy wasted. It's energy wasted thinking about any of that, or worrying about what someone thinks of something that you made. If they like it, cool. If they don't like it, that should be just as cool. One of the things that helped me to not care about the clown drawings is I can't draw. And I was like, I'm not good at drawing. I'm not a good artist. It was almost like Clerks, like I was like, I'm not even supposed to be here today. If someone was to look at my drawings and be like, it looks like a 4-year-old did this, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Like, hey, you're not talented at drawing. I didn't say I was. Well, you're trying to pass yourself off as some kind of artist. Nope. I know that I'm not good.
You say you don't care, but you do care. And that's kind of why they're great. You don't care what people think.
Right, yeah. I care.
Right.
The thing that I cared about with them is how I was hoping that they brightened someone's day, or I was trying to connect with people because we were not allowed to connect.
Yeah.
And I knew everybody was in the same boat, all my friends and family. Yeah. And so I thought that maybe some of these would cheer them up, or just this is just me reaching out to everybody and saying hi with a drawing, and just letting you know where I'm at. And maybe you're in the same place, and maybe it inspires you to do something as well, you know what I mean? Something you can sink this bizarre, like, dumpster fire that we're all a part of right now, because it was just so fucking, it is the most bizarre time that we have all experienced, So I was just trying to connect with people.
I definitely loved getting them. I kind of looked forward to it every day. And then, I told you, like, I'd get asked by some of my coworkers. They're like, hey, did you get any more of the clown drawings from Brann? I'm like, oh yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Send them off. So
yeah, I heard that from a lot of people, that they had it had sort of been like a thing either like in their family or, hey, did you get another clown? Did you get another clown? So I thought that was really cool. It made me happy that they were getting shared beyond, just the person that would get them. A couple of friends of mine have kids and stuff, and they always look forward to getting the clown. If I was like late with a clown, I would get texts like, hey, everything cool? I'm like, yeah, I had to go do this, and I had to go do that, and then I'm sorry that the clown is late today.
Why clowns? What was the reason for clowns? I know you have a thing with clowns.
Right, yeah. It's no secret at this point. Well, first and foremost, I like the aesthetics of a clown. And I guess, I have a clown room at my house, and I'm surrounded by clowns. And now the clowns have sort of spilled out of the clown room, and they're making their way to the other areas of the house. And so clowns are often on my mind, probably more so than most people, as I am surrounded by them. And when I'm kind of stuck at home like everybody else, I was like, maybe I'll draw a clown. Because for me, it was like, I can draw a clown face, and it makes more sense to me. If you just sit and draw a face, a regular face, there's not a lot of interest there. But if you can dream up some clown makeup that looks interesting and cool, that for me makes the face way more interesting to draw and color in, because you can put all different colors in there if you want, or you can leave it kind of muted like I did that first clown. If I had an idea to just sit down and draw someone's face, I probably wouldn't have done it because it just sounds kind of boring to me. But drawing a clown makes me excited to sit down and try to do it.
It's a clown face, but you're paying a lot of attention to how you're getting the emotion across in the facial expressions.
Right.
So it's a clown, but you're still drawing a face because
for sure.
Emotion's really coming out.
And I think that the clown is such an iconic thing that I found out that you can pretty much clown just about anything. Like I made a house into a clown. An octopus into a clown.
I've never seen an octopus clown.
You can do it to anything. You can make a clown out of just about anything. So I really don't know that you could take anything else. For me, I don't know that I could find anything else that would give me 101 ideas to go into, you know what I mean? Unless I don't know. I haven't really sat and thought about it. Obviously there probably would be for someone else, but for me, to keep my attention, the clown thing just made the most sense. For the last few years, it's been bubbling up, I think, the drawing clowns or doing something like that. I've thought about it multiple times. I should draw clowns. I really like clowns. I should draw them. I would see other people that are making clowns, and I'm like, I can do that. I think I can do that, but I just never had the time, really. Or I'll just be tired, get up and I play drums for like 2 hours, and then I'll go to the studio, and then it was like come home, make dinner, eat the dinner, watch a movie, boom, time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Couldn't just get up and start drawing something. I totally could have, but I just, with the pandemic and everything that hit all at that time period, it was like, I didn't feel like playing my drums. I still played my drums, but I had this little routine that became very important, I guess, for my life. Where
sanity?
I was like, okay, I have to get up tomorrow, draw the clown, then I'll play drums, then I'll eat some food, then I'll work out or whatever, but the clown became paramount in my life, for those 101 days. As I went through it, it got more and more important to me that I had to do it, it started to get a little later we started going back to the studio and stuff. And, you know, Troy would drive up here from Florida and it'd be like, "Hey, are you coming down to the studio?" I'd be like, "Yeah, after I get done with my clown, I will totally be there." You know? So Troy knew that when he got the clown on his text message that I'd be there in about 20 minutes after that. I
Because
felt
was
like
it therapeutic for you in a way?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Just the art, just the drawing itself was therapeutic. You know what I mean? Yeah, just the sitting, just the getting the idea, sitting, and then seeing it through to completion was like, it made me feel good. You know what I mean? It was like total therapy. And then the meditation while I was drawing and just sitting there sometimes in total silence for hours, you know, and just doing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this was great. It was just what I personally needed at the time, I guess, you know.
It was fun to see you do 100 of these, because you would always tell me, like, I always wanted to be an artist, but I can't. So it's really fun to work with artists and collaborate on this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So watching you send all these, it was cool just to see, because just knowing how you I visualize things, people visualize things, and then try to like see it through to the end.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like my defeatist attitude, and I can't do that, you know, and without even trying, is just sad, and it's gotten in my way for a lot of things, you know. And so hopefully this is like a way for me to get out of my own way and at least try, you know. So that's 101 101 that's me trying for 101 times in a row. where 90% of those I would have said I can't do that. Like I would have the image pop up in my brain and be like, nope, and then not do it. You know. So maybe it's like you know, and not that it means anything, but I don't know, maybe if hearing me say it helps somebody else to get out of their own way, maybe that's something.
It is. That's totally something.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking
do it.
Because it's a bummer when you like the idea that people can be discouraged from doing something they enjoy doing just because they're worried about how it's perceived by other people.
Right. And they don't want to feel foolish, which is what gets in the way of a lot of people's, you know, fear of looking foolish, you know, and that sucks.
Yeah.
And more people should try to get rid of that feeling. What a horrible situation that we were all in. And I hope that, you know, I hope a lot of people, I hope that it produced a lot of great art, you know, because that's, you know, one of the silver linings, I guess, to all this uncertainty and fear and death and disease and horribleness that's happening right now is that, you know, you're stuck at home. Hopefully it's going to lead to some really amazing, incredible art that people just didn't have the time to do prior to this.